Hey y'all, okay, let's do a crime time. We're due for a crime time. Oh, it's making me tired. So this happened in Monroe County, which is in Florida. And this is with Fox 32 in Chicago. They covered this case. A Florida woman accused of fatally shooting her boyfriend over the weekend told investigators he tried to kill her, but the victim's dying words tell another story. Brittany Holbrook, 33, allegedly gunned down Tyler Nulisch, 30, early Saturday morning after an argument, according to an arrest affidavit obtained by Fox News Digital. This was in 2023, June of 2023, by the way. The couple's roommate, Jordan Kinn, called 911 shortly before 3 a.m. and said Nulisch was in bad shape. He's hurt real bad, and there was a lot of blood. Deputies and detectives with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office responded to the home on Avenue F in Key West and found Holbrook cradling Nulisch on the living room floor as he bled profusely. A 9mm Smith & Wesson and a spent shell casing were on the floor near a dog kennel, the police report says. Nulisch had lost consciousness but was still breathing. Excuse me. When he was rushed to the Lower Keys Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead at 3:46 a.m., he suffered a gunshot wound to his lower left back. Kinn told investigators he was awoken in the middle of the night by the couple fighting. When he heard Holbrook scream, he ran into the living room and found Nulisch lying in a pool of blood and asked him what happened. "That bitch shot me in the back," the victim replied, as Holbrook stood nearby and said nothing. They say allegedly, my ass. If she said it, she said it. If the witness said that she said it, she said it. He was originally considered a suspect, and then they realized he was not a suspect. Holbrook told detectives there was a gap in her memory. The affidavit says after she and Nulisch went to sleep, her next recollection was holding her blood-soaked boyfriend in her arms. She denied that Nulisch had made any statements to the roommate, but in later interviews, she allegedly recalled more details according to the document. She stated she remembers Nulisch leaving their bed and walking in the bathroom. Excuse me. When he returned from the bathroom, he was like a different person and began to attack her, investigators wrote. While she was being held against the wall, she described Nulisch squeezing her throat with his hands hard enough that it restricted her breathing. She said she thought her boyfriend was trying to kill her. However, she had no marks around her throat or broken blood vessels on the white parts of her eyes, which would be expected if he had strangled her, investigators noted in the report. Just for the record, it's called petechial hemorrhaging. If someone is choking you hard enough to try to kill you, strangle you really hard, the blood vessels in your eyes rupture, and it's called petechial hemorrhaging, which she didn't have any of that going on. So there's no evidence with what she's saying. She's saying something that doesn't match any physical evidence. Holbrook said she could not remember how she got away from Nulisch, but denied firing a gun. The roommate told police that Holbrook owned a pistol, which she kept in the house. Holbrook is charged with one count of premeditated murder and is being held on a $750,000 bond. At the Monroe County Sheriff's Office records show the pair had been dating for about 9 months and shared a love of diving and fishing, according to their Facebook profiles. A lawyer for Holbrook could not immediately be identified. So let's talk about what the article doesn't talk about. Okay. When she was being interviewed by the police, she said, police are going to eventually ask you benign questions because they're trying to develop a rapport with you. Okay, how did you guys meet? How do you know this and that? She said we were roommates first. And they became involved with each other. And she said that they didn't have any fights or any, they didn't have a history of fighting or anything like that. And then the more the cops asked her about the evidence and what they saw, she's trying to come up with a story that matches what they see, which a lot of criminals do that. They bend and rearrange things and try to make their story match what the evidence shows, which failed miserably, but she did try. So initially she said, no, I mean, she acted like we have fights like any other couple. You know, excuse me, not knockdown dragouts or anything like that, but she acted like it was just minor. And so they said, well, where were you and how did you get to the kitchen? She said, I was laying in bed and then I got up and I don't, they said, how'd you get in the kitchen? She said, I don't remember. I just remember cradling him in my arms. I didn't hear a gun or anything like that. And then with more questions, she has to embellish the story. And I could tell by the way she was supposedly crying, she sounded so phony. She sounded like she had a clothespin on her nose. And she's like, oh my God, oh, this is so terrible. And I'm just like, oh, girl, please. Oh, God, you are so freaking phony. Anyway, so she went from, kind of acting like to have normal fusses like anybody else would, all right, to we got into an argument and he grabbed me and he grabbed me by the throat and he slammed me against the wall and this and that and the other and he's scratching at me. He's doing all of a sudden he turned into the Tasmanian devil when in reality that wasn't the case. If somebody grabs you by the throat and they're squeezing hard, you're going to see red marks, maybe scratches on the person's neck. You're going to see pressure areas where they press their fingers into your throat. She had no markings on her neck whatsoever. Whatso freaking ever. Okay. And she was trying to perpetrate that this was a self-defense situation. Okay, so here's the problem with that. How can it be a self-defense situation if the person got shot in their back? They're not hitting you with their back. They're not body slamming you backwards. They're not a threat to you if their back is to you, and there's no evidence that he put his hands on you at all. And Tyler, they call him Nulisch, but that's his last name. His name is Tyler. I hate when the media uses the person's last name. I guess they're trying to be less personable, making it more clinical or whatever distance, but whatever, we're not doing that. Tyler's friends and a girlfriend of one of the friends witnessed her behavior when she gets intoxicated. Now, she used to be involved with um, Chris Jaffe. Is that his first name, Chris? And she couldn't stand him. I don't know. I mean, to me, she seems like a man hater. She's abusive. If you don't march to her tune, she's going to haul off and hit you. And when she drinks alcohol, it makes her worse. Alcohol doesn't change your personality, it just brings out the worst in you, or in some cases, it makes you more chill. But the bad side of that is it can bring out the worst. And in her case, it just brings out who she is, but worse. I mean, who she truly, truly is, when she gets mad. And she had told one young lady, I think her name is Melissa, which is one of Tyler's friends' girlfriend, that she wanted to stab him in his abdomen and bring it all the way up to his throat or so. I can't remember exactly, but she was talking in specific detail about how she wanted to stab him, her ex-boyfriend. And Melissa was basically baffled by that. She's like, "You haven't been with him for a year. Why are you holding this anger? Like, what's going on?" And then they made arrangements to get the heck out of here because they realized that she's not dealing with a full deck of cards. Okay, Brittany is not dealing with a full deck of cards. And then another time, Tyler, his friend, and Brittany were in the back seat. Well, I mean, the guy was driving, Tyler was a passenger, and Brittany had told the friend at a previous conversation that the guys hunt on her dad's property. Well, Brittany had told Tyler's friend who was driving, she told him before they were in the car. This is a previous conversation. She had told him that, "Oh, my dad's going to sell the property." And he's like, "Oh, that's messed up because we like to hunt there." So then when they were all three in the car and the friend was driving, Tyler's in the passenger seat in the front, Brittany Wackadoo is in the back seat, and Tyler said, "Brittany, is your dad going to sell the property?" Well, she balls up her fist and does a Mike Tyson hook to his face and says, "Don't ever fucking talk about my dad again." Uh, what? This woman is, oh God. Unfortunately, he Tyler did like a lot of people do who are in abusive situations. You kind of freeze and you don't get rid of this person because you're trauma bonded to them. You think you're in love, but you're not. You're trauma bonded to them because the person who's abusive is nice and then they're hateful and then they're nice, hateful, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you're always craving when it was nice, but it never stays there. It doesn't stay on the nice page. It just doesn't stay there. It always goes back to hateful, always bounces back to hateful. And he was psychologically frozen with her. He should have dumped her the first time she lost her mind. This way you can't get trauma bonded because you've already seen what they're capable of. Of course, then the person will, resort to tears and "I'm so sorry," crying hysterically, and "I love you so much, and I don't know why I did that, and I'm so sorry." And they seem to be convincing. The only problem is this scenario plays out all the time and it's a consecutive thing and the violence escalates and before you know it, someone is hurt or worse. Now, her ex-boyfriend, I think his first name is Chris Jaffe, he's lucky because she had fantasies of murdering him. And he managed to get the hell away from her, thank God. Tyler wasn't so lucky. And unfortunately, they don't talk about this in this particular case, but I'm pretty sure, especially since there were so many witnesses to her previous bad behavior, comments that she's made, screaming, yelling at Tyler in front of other people. She don't give a shit that there's witnesses. She don't care. That person is really, 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 really dangerous, and they don't care to perpetrate a nice person in public like a lot of phony ass people do. They're really nice in public. They've got that plastic smile on their face, and behind closed doors they're evil. Well, she's the type that she's going to be evil regardless of who's there. Okay? And I'm pretty sure there were times that her friends, or excuse me, my bad, Tyler's friends told him, dude, she's nuts. You better get away from her. She's getting physical with you. It's going to escalate. And this is never going to go in good places. But unfortunately, he just, I don't know, he just could not break away. This is why it is imperative that you get rid of the person in the beginning when you first start dating. You get rid of them in the beginning. I have been trapped in situations like this before. And y'all know, I talked about it a long time ago, my ex-fiance, and he couldn't keep his hands to himself, and he liked to grab my shirt and shove it up against my throat. And I had fantasies of ending him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had fantasies of ending him. I'm like, you put your motherfucking hands on me one more time, and I swear, as God is my witness, I'll be in Potosi. That's one of our prisons here in Missouri. My ass will be in Potosi. I literally had fantasies of doing something to him and him sprawled out on my living room floor. I had images of that in my head. That's when it's time. Of course, the time to get away would have been the first time the person flips the fuck out. They throw themselves into a wild rage. Their eyes look insane. And there's no build-up. Usually when people lose it, there's a build-up. A slow build. Stop, you're getting on my nerves. You're getting on my nerves. I'm telling you right now, you're getting on my nerves. Shut the hell up. I'm sick of freaking hearing it. And it builds, builds, builds. And then now you're banging your fist on the desk and you want to hurt the person because it's building to that crescendo. With my ex fiance, Mr. Church Boy, Mr. Holy Man, he's an abusive, psychotic narcissist. His father was the same way. His mom beat the wife up. The husband beat the wife up, his parents. He beat his wife because she went to church one Sunday. So she came home and caught an ass whooping after church. So he comes from wackadoo-ness, and he turned into a Chris Brown. If a woman doesn't obey you, which she's not your child, okay, punk? She's not your child. She doesn't have to obey your ass. That's what's wrong with you all. Those of you that are abusive and controlling, nobody has to obey your ass. And if you're looking for a child to be in a relationship with, you're a fucking pedophile. Okay? Let's get that straight. Anyway, I had images of ending him, and that's when I realized I need to get my ass away from him, because if I do something to him, he will never put his hands on anyone else again. However, my behind will be behind bars. You see what I'm saying? He ain't worth me going to jail. Next thing you know, inmates are, trading me for a package of cigarettes or whatever they got going on. He'll be dead, but I will be locked up. So there's not really a win-win. Win that he's gone, but not a win for me, because then I get to be locked up. So it's really, really imperative that you watch people's behavior in the very beginning. In the beginning. So the first time they fly into a rage, that is who they are. Do not listen to the lies. I love you. I'm under so much stress. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I'll never do that again. I'm so sorry. That's never going to happen again. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love you. Words mean nothing without behavior to match the words. Anyone can promise you anything and deliver nothing. You don't go by words, because people can be they can be Shakespeare with the words, and none of it is true. All of it is a bull-faced lie. You don't go by words, you go by behavior, and you go by consistent behavior over 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, all the way to a year, going into the second year. You don't rush to be with this person. You don't rush to marry them. You take your sweet time so that you can see their behavior in all situations. You want to make sure you don't get surprised, and you want to make sure that you don't sign up to be with the devil. Because if they're fake, let me explain you something. You're going to find out that they're fake. The mask is heavy. That plastic costume, that fake plastic mask that they wear that has a permanent smile on it, that is fake, 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 phony, phony, phony. And they're going to take that mask off one day and reveal who the hell they are. That's why you don't rush into nothing. You don't rush to jump in a sack with them. You don't rush to be in a relationship with them. You don't rush to get knocked up. You don't rush to get married. They're rushing you in hopes that you don't find out who they really are. And by the time you find out, you're already locked in. Okay? Somebody who's a horrible person, rushing is their favorite weapon. Don't you dare fall for this. And don't fall for empty words. Words mean nothing. Anybody can promise you anything and deliver squat. Deliver you nightmares. Okay? So don't fall for the... please. So this bitch got 40 years and 20 years with no possibility of parole, like 20 or 25 years of no possibility of parole with a 40-year sentence. And I hope to God that she never, ever gets released on parole, ever, because she's psychotic. You're seeing a pattern where she hates men and she likes to beat them up. And now she's escalated from, and we don't even know how many of her ex-boyfriends she's done this to. Okay? Now she's escalated from left hook in the jaw to bullet in the back. Self-defense, my ass. Nobody's beating you with their back. Okay? Nobody. So, I mean, wow. So, I just want to give you guys a crime time. We haven't done one for a little bit, so I wanted to give you one. And, they could have put her out of her misery and dropped her right into a great white shark's mouth and be done with it. Okay, listen, I can have fantasies if I want to. Drop her ass right in a shark's mouth and put her out of her goddamn misery. All right, you guys take care. Much love. Hope you enjoyed the crime time and see you next time. See you on the flip side. Bye.